I wanted to talk, first of all, I found out about this on Tuesday, and the message I got from the label, from the management, was that we want to do this before the end of the year. I think I can assume why, but I'd like to hear you guys sort of articulate. Why was it important to sort of address this issue before the end of 2002?
There's been a lot of things said online, especially in the past week, and it sucks. I mean, it sucks to read it, but it sucks also to know that responding isn't really going to help online, because things travel so terribly on the internet. So we really wanted the opportunity to show our fans that we're okay. You know, like, the three of us are still here. We're not going anywhere. A lot of kids are still asking if the band is breaking up, and that just goes to show how broken the communication online can be when rumors start traveling. So this is our way of showing that there's a future, and we're stoked for it.
Mm-hmm. This is, you know, if you ever try to be sarcastic in an email or something, all
yeah.
people are like, "Why are you yelling?" It's very difficult.
It never works.
Yeah, it's very difficult. So I guess before we talk about these sort of the respective statements, I wanted to, you know, the timeline is a little odd. Mm-hmm. I completely missed this first fake blog post thing, whatever. From what I understand, you guys had nothing to do with this fake blog post. This took you completely by surprise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I haven't even read the whole fake blog post.
I couldn't even find the whole fake blog post.
I couldn't either.
I don't know
looked
where
for
it
it too. People were like, we were talking about it. I'm like, I didn't get to even read the whole thing, and then I never could find the rest of it.
Yeah, it was really weird timing, though. When I got an email about it, I was like, what is happening? You know, I mean, I think that there's been, you know, the fans that are really close to us have at least thought that they've noticed things for a while now, and so with all the speculation, I guess we kind of had to expect that someone would do something like that eventually, but the timing was weird. And that's why we wanted to clear stuff up also.
So then the issue of the two respective statements, I mean, yours was posted first, and then, you know, Josh was sort of upset by that. So did they come to you and say, we're going to announce this at certain date, wait for us, or how did you guys sort of go first?
With the statement?
Yeah.
Man, okay, well...
Was it because of that blog post that sort of came out?
That was the problem, is that, like, then everyone online starts wanting to know immediately, and you know how fast things spread online. An hour online is like 3 days. It's crazy how much stuff, and it flies all over the world. And so it was important to us to clear things up with people and not, I mean, because you can't have like a fake statement going around. I mean, obviously it does, and it spreads anyways, and people are going to believe whatever they believe, but we wanted to post something that showed the fans, like, oh, hello, like, clear it up, and something before Christmas time, too. It's all really strange time.
And that was the thing, is that, you know, Josh and Zac told us, you know, a couple months ago, and so we've been, you know, we communicated that, you know, they really wanted to, and we really wanted them to write something to the fans themselves. And that's the thing, is the blog kind of threw that whole thing off, because people started talking, and, you know, so, you know, they totally, you know, had the chance, but we just needed to clear things up before things got out of hand. So that's, you know, that's kind of how that whole mess started. It wasn't anyone trying to beat anyone, you know.
You were sort of waiting for them, because you had sort of given the onus to make this announcement.
Originally, we wanted them to make the statement, and we gave them the chance, and then everything happened online, and it was terrible timing. I mean, especially being around Christmas, you don't want to be like, Merry Christmas, band is over, you know. So like that, I mean, it sucked for us to like watch our fans freak out online, especially the ones that are on our website, because those are the ones that are like so like every single day posting stuff and contributing, and that's not a way you want to pay back your fans, especially around Christmas time.
So in your statement, you guys said that their decision to leave didn't really shock you. No. And so I'm interested, you had obviously had, when did you start having conversations with them, then they said they wanted to leave?
Well, we didn't really have any conversations about it before they told us, you know, we've decided this. At least I didn't have that conversation with them. I was not shocked that they wanted to leave, but kind of was surprised at how they were telling us, more or less, the way that it was so far in advance to when they would actually be done. You know, we've noticed that they weren't happy, and that sucks. I mean, it sucks to be in a family or in a marriage where you see someone that's, you know, either hurting or they're just not having fun, or I don't know, it sucked. And I guess I shouldn't say we weren't shocked, because it's always going to be a shock. It's always going to suck. But I guess we kind of felt it.
You guys for a couple of years and sort of watch how you interact, both on camera and off. It's very easy to you know, look at every interview I've done with the five of you guys and the way that they sort of were in interviews, you know, Josh in particular. And so I think people, like you said before, people can kind of sort of, they notice things that maybe weren't there or not. Was there, I mean, I'm just kind of curious, when you said you weren't really, you know, this didn't really surprise you, but you kind of felt it coming. Was there a moment where they said, this is it? I mean, like, when did this, I'm trying to timeline. Was it when Brand New Eyes came out, during the tour, like one of the tours for it? When?
No, it wasn't very long. I mean, it wasn't very long ago. It's not like we've known for forever. I mean, it was literally just like a couple months before it all happened and everything. So it was all still new to us as well. But you know, we could tell. You know, you can. I mean, the thing is, you know, like even in posts and stuff, it's talk about them not being happy, and it shows. When you're not happy, it shows. Like, I mean, and it was just really, really good for us to finally, like, I don't know, that's why that blog post really, like, hit us hard, because we are going through all this and we wanted to get it out to our fans and everything, and our fans didn't have, you know, they found all that, and everyone started freaking out about it. So after all that, so we had known for a couple months, but just didn't know when to post it, and wanted to post it all together, and then that blog ended up screwing it all up. So it makes everything really difficult.
I know that the particulars, the schematics are kind of a pain to go through again, so we'll deal with it real quick. But I think two parts. One, when you said a couple months you knew they were going to leave.
Yeah.
Was it difficult then to carry on and sort of pretend, the red carpets, everything was cool and da 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 da?
Absolutely. I mean, you know, we always kind of talk about how our band is like a marriage, and it's really hard to move forward as a group when there are people that aren't into it. They're not excited. They don't want to be there. And so to know to that level that they didn't want to be there was really tough. And knowing what was happening, and, you know, even in interviews, being positive when maybe we didn't feel positive, and, you know, it was really hard. I think in a way it was kind of special because we knew, like, when our last show was, and I think we were able to prepare, and I think that was cool. It was cool for us just to know, but it was very difficult, you know.
Yeah. And you know, last night I watched a lot of the footage from that show in Orlando, my hometown.
Yes.
But it didn't look like this was a dire thing. Everyone seemed, on stage at least, to be having a good time.
Well, I mean, we
that
never.
was our goal, really.
Yeah.
To make sure that everyone had a blast and remembered, you know, even if they weren't happy at the time, we all enjoyed and loved playing together and all that stuff, and we really wanted to make a celebration out of our last performances together and stuff.
And that's another reason that we didn't announce it sooner, is that we didn't want kids to feel, or fans to feel like they were coming to a funeral. Like, you know, to be like, well, this is their last show, so I'm gonna go and mourn, you know, for an hour and a half. And that wouldn't be fun for anybody, and it wouldn't be fun for us. Like, I think that the way we did it was the right way for us, you know, like with our fans and the relationship that we have with them. We put a lot on the line, and we tell our fans pretty much everything. But this was something that it was like, you know, we want to wait until the end of the year and we're done, because we want to enjoy every second that we can.
How was it after the show? What happened after the show?
It was really anticlimactic, honestly. I mean, it was, I think I expected it to either be, you know, end in tears or be a big celebration kind of party thing. And it wasn't neither of those. It was just, you know, you walk off stage. I went and warmed down. The guys went and put their stuff away, and that was it. We went back to the hotel.
As this sort of, apparently this new project. When they said they leave, did they say what they were going to do next? I mean, did they want to keep doing music, just different music? I mean,
No.
Pretty much just said their heart wasn't in it anymore, and you know what? Good for them.
Right.
I mean, I would rather them go and be where they're supposed to be and where they can be happy all the time than, you know. I mean, I think that's what I would want anyone to do. Is, you know, as much as time that we spent, and how much we've had good things that we've had together and worked together and everything, and it's been good, but I'd rather see them be happy somewhere, you know?
Yeah.
So, taking all that and then segueing into their statement, I'm assuming this sort of caught you by surprise and probably was sort of hurtful. I mean,
Yeah.
so can you sort of, where did you first hear about it, read about it, and what was your sort of initial reaction? Each of you guys.
Man, I think I heard about it from, I don't know who I heard. I mean, probably from one of these guys or one, like, did you call? I don't know if I got a phone call or an email, but I woke up to it basically, and that sucked. And I was not happy. I mean, yeah, it hurts because that's what we were told was that they weren't happy. They didn't want to do this. And you can't be mad at someone for not feeling something, you know, and if they don't want to be in the band, then it's a simple answer. But then when it really became about all these other things, that I was very surprised and just kind of felt led on almost, you know, for like, I mean, we've been doing this for 6-7 years now. I don't think any of this has been in vain for any of us. We've loved every second that we've spent on stage, all the meet and greets, the things we've gotten to do with our fans. Like, that's the stuff that we've built, we've worked really hard for, and I don't think anyone should discredit it.
And Taylor, for you, like, how did you take it? Because I'm obviously in the statement, you've known them for a long time.
Yeah.
Sort of, you know, just judging on dynamics, were maybe sort of the link between, you know, you two and them. So how did you take it?
I mean, it was it was a drag. I mean, I think, like I said earlier, you know, we were expecting a statement from them, and so once we released our statement, we all knew that they would probably release something. So I think we were all kind of bracing ourselves, and you know, breakups are hard, and there's a lot of feelings, you know, and so we kind of, I think in a way we expected there to be something weird, and yeah, it was really hard to read, I think, just because it seemed like a lot of the stuff was pretty irrelevant to what happened. I think that was the weird thing, because it just didn't seem really necessary, but, you know, we're working through it, and it is what it is, and you can't really let it get to you, because it's just, I don't know, it's life.
And Jeremy, how was?
I mean, it was you know, pretty confusing because the way it was expressed to us from them is that they just weren't happy and they wanted to move on and do something else, and it was all this like peace between us, and then reading that was totally something different, and like Haley said, it's hard. It was hard reading it because the whole time reading it was just I was thinking about all of our fans that we worked so hard for, and everyone, all the confusion and all the stuff, and it's just all a bunch of silliness. And you know what? If they don't want to be here and do the band stuff, then good luck with whatever they want to do. But you know, they decided that they wanted to leave and they weren't happy. So I mean, I can't really say anything other than that. That's all.
There's very diplomatic responses.
Yeah,
right.
I'm assuming, had I caught you on the day when this first sort of happened.
Well, yeah,
No.
of course. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't get angry.
Right.
No, I mean, yeah, of course you feel every single type of emotion possible when something like that happens with someone that either was or is very, very close to you. You just feel everything all at once. I've never felt so just, I don't know. I couldn't even figure out how I felt. But after realizing that it's, like Taylor said, it just was kind of going to happen this way, you just got to know that what's important is that the three of us are still here and that we want to do this, and that's
We'd be remiss if we didn't go through the statement. And again, like we said, if there's things you don't want to talk about, we can.
That's fine.
I've printed out copies, one copy, and underlined several parts. The strangest part to me of this thing is the fact that they kind of sign off by saying the intention of the statement was not to belittle or disgrace the band, and we are still hoping to work out a friendly way to leave our part of Paramore intact with the remaining events, including Haley. What have they made up with you? Have you spoken to them since the statement?
No, we haven't talked. I don't even know what would be said, you know. I think, like, I'm trying so hard just to focus on the future, and they kind of opted out of that. So I'm happy here. I mean, I don't know if there's anything to be said.
Sure. Okay. Fair enough. So we'll just go through these things here. I guess first and foremost is you're the one who sort of bears the overwhelming brunt of things.
I know.
But I want to. There are parts about each of you in
Yes.
here that I think you're portrayed with. But first of all, can you talk about when this band first started, and just talk about your parents and managers, and this was a solo band. How much of that? Because I'll be quite honest with you. Over the years, I have talked to people, and they have said things to the fact that like Haley is the only person this band signed to Atlanta.
Yes.
Can you talk about? Is that true?
Yeah, well, when I was 14, I was offered a contract, but my heart wasn't to be a solo artist. My heart was to be in a band. I mean, since I can remember being a kid, I've always just wanted to be in a band. I didn't even want to be the singer. I wanted to be the drummer so I could be behind everything, you know. And that's what I fought for, and that's what we've made it. And that's why it seemed so irrelevant that everything was being pointed out and stated. I mean, we've always been honest about it. Like, I've talked on Live Journal with fans about the history of Paramore and the story of our band, and tried to make it a more personal thing where it's not just, you know, hearsay and all this stuff that fans have to thumb through online. I mean, we've been honest about it. We are a band, and to me, it doesn't matter if there's a name on a contract. I hate business. It's the last thing I ever want to talk about. And so when that was brought up in the blog, I just felt like, man, fans shouldn't care or need to hear about this stuff, because all that does is get in the way of music.
Mm-hmm. And it's interesting to bring this point, because there's obviously issues of money and things like that. But when I was here a year ago, I think you were talking about buying a house or something, and you were 19 years old. Mm-hmm. So obviously everyone is doing okay in this setup.
Yes.
I mean, you have a million guns, and we went to sushi dinner as well. But But I guess the question is, if we were to somehow go to the Atlantic offices near and pull out the contract, whose name is on the contract?
You would see my name.
Okay.
And the reason that it's like that is because I was offered one. Mm-hmm. But it just sucks so bad that fans would have to focus on that even for a second, because this has never been about me. I've hated anybody or anything that has ever made this about me. Mm-hmm. That's why I've worn shirts that say Paramore as a band time and time again. Mm-hmm. That's why we've written the songs that we have. That's why you see the name Paramore on our album covers.
That's why the three of us are here talking.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And even if you go on the label, I mean, you technically have to pull out that paper to see it, because otherwise it's Paramore stuff all on the walls with all of us. Mm-hmm. And that's been what it's been this entire time. We've all been fighting for the same thing and associated, and with the fans all the same way. So it's pretty silly to think that. I mean, yeah.
It is also painted. The early part of this band is painted. It's like this bizarre, gulag of torture and 12-passenger van rides.
But that's the heart of being in a band, is the hardship.
Well,
that's what we wanted to do, was go and do the grassroots and establish a fan base that was going to last.
Yeah.
Well, so specific points in this. And I apologize again, because I apologize.
We'll tell you.
Okay. This would be a pain in the ass.
Okay, I'm not answering that.
We'll do that. There's a paragraph here that talks about going to LA for a showcase, and basically your manager be in the lobby at this time, and then you guys wouldn't show up. Huh?
Wait, what would happen?
We traveled to LA a few weeks ago for a showcase, and it was a nightmare.
Oh
I'll just read. Haley's manager would tell the band to be in the lobby of the hotel at a certain time, but he and Haley wouldn't show for hours. We found out that they had been meeting with record label executives all morning without us, which was totally weird, given that this wasn't simply solo artists, but a band. The band was in the dark the whole time.
Oh my. Okay, so first of all, that wasn't my manager.
And even if that was in the beginning, we've been touring for how long since then? And everything, been in a...
But that's the part of the story that could be so easily misconstrued, because, as I said, I was offered a contract, and my whole mission as a 14-year-old person who was being courted by these people was to turn them away from me and let them see what we were doing as a band. Okay. There's been a lot of people that have tried to use us in the beginning for their own good, and we've been lucky enough to get out of that each and every time and make it once again about us. So that I didn't even know that part was in there, and I think that's so irrelevant, because I don't even...
Every time we talked when you were writing this record, and time and time again you would say, Josh wrote this amazing guitar part, and I wrote these lyrics. So it wasn't you're just like, I did this,
Never.
period.
Yeah. I couldn't do that with a straight face. I can't first of all, I can't take myself seriously at all, in the least. But yeah, it's just embarrassing when people brag about themselves. So I definitely can't be that kind of person. I can't be that kind of person. I don't know. I just can't.
So the second part of the basically three-part
Sure.
is the idea of signing to the label and these nefarious machinations of you're signed to Atlantic, but you're on Fueled by Ramen. And a lot of these things have been covered in the. I mean, I wrote articles 3 years ago about the 360 deals,
Yep.
et cetera, and stuff like that. But it all sort of culminates in the statement. In reality, this is the statement. In reality, what started as natural somehow morphed into a manufactured product of a major label, riding the coattails of Haley's dream. So, how does it feel? I mean, obviously, this is a band that is on Atlantic Records.
Yes.
So it is a major label rock act.
Yep. But
When I wrote about this record, I said it was the best major label rock record of 2009. But the point, how does it? I mean, what is your reaction to this thing? A manufactured product of a major label.
well, I don't get how it could have started natural if it was all about me anyways. It wouldn't have started natural. It would have started manufactured in the first place. But we're not a manufactured band. We've dealt with that rumor for a long time, and that's because of the rumors of FBR and Atlantic's relationship. We've always talked about that, and I think it was a few months ago, right after the Honda Civic tour, that I addressed this exact topic on our live journal, saying, when we started, I again fought that this would be a band thing, and I fought for something that we could really work hard and start from the ground. Like that's the kind of music that I love, and it's the kind of music we've all shared interest in since day one, and we wanted to be that kind of band. We wanted to be those kind of people that just work for whatever they're going to get. We didn't know that it would turn into this. Thank God it did, because we've experienced so many cool things, but we got very lucky that Fueled by Ramen and Atlantic were already they were already working with other bands together before we even signed. So our first record was not on Atlantic, it was on Fueled by Ramen, and then when we started to pick up interest, Atlantic began once again to be interested in us.
Right. And then sort of the third, there's mentions of dating and whatnot, but
What? I never dated anyone.
did you not read this? Apparently, the sort of interesting part, and this is when I first started, meet you guys and interview you guys, is when Brand New Eyes was being made and coming out. And the thing that you told me time and time again was that this is the record that sort of saved the band. We went to the brink and back. We really fought each other to make this record. And the statement is, Haley claimed that this record reunited us as a band and made us grow closer, when in reality we were all growing further apart. So they're obviously two different viewpoints.
Yeah.
I mean,
If he can speak for the behalf of all of us, that's not really fair either.
Well, but I think in all fairness, I think at the time, we all did believe that's what it was.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, he even did. We had the best time of our band's career when we were making
all
that
lived
record.
together.
And things change. I think we really believed that, and we were wrong. And that's just how life is. We made a statement that we believed in, and it didn't turn out the way we thought it would.
Brand New Eyes is a great record. I love the record. Still listen to it a lot. I actually listened to it last night in the plane, and I sort of wrote down some things. I think at the time we talked, the record is sort of about addressing, I wrote, nameless naysayers and faceless detractors. Because, sort of the people at large, these people saying. But going back and listening to it, there are an alarming number of songs that you can now interpret as being specifically about Josh Farro.
Yeah.
I wrote some of them down. I think, Careful, Ignorance, Playing God, maybe even Misguided Ghost, things like that. So, I mean, were you essentially then writing about this conflict that he talked about in his statement? Were you writing songs about the conflict between you two?
I would say that a large majority of those songs, yes, have to do with the relationship that we had, and then that we had to mend, and it was really hard because we were all friends, and then going through a breakup, and then going through any kind of tension at all as a band really affected all the lyrics, even if they weren't about just Josh and I, or just me and Taylor, or me and, everything that we were going through kind of had an overall effect on the tone of what I was saying. But there are a lot of specifics that I pulled from my experience with, just feeling like my face was underneath a boot all the time. I definitely, I think that the point of the album was never to point out those things, but hopefully to encourage people that feel that way, because I felt so alone in that kind of fight that I would never want, especially another young woman, to feel that way, because I know that a lot of girls I've talked to, fans, and go through the same thing in relationships and families, and it just sucks to feel kind of victimized in a way that you don't want to feel petty. So it just, every level of it really sucks.
Right. Well, it's funny you mentioned levels, because I think it only adds sort of a new kind of level to listening to the record. It's almost like you hear it again. I mean, and, you know, there's a lot of things in here. They mentioned in their statement, you know, there's a lyric in Careful, which is, "The truth never set me free, so I did it myself."
Yes.
Which they sort of see as sort of, you know, there's a Bible scripture, they sort of, it's you denouncing that. So can you talk about that lyric in particular, because it's gotten a lot of attention recently?
I'll talk about that,
Yeah,
because
what are you
when Haley first came to us with those lyrics, we had like a massive talk about it, and the first thing that Haley said is because they voiced their concern on what they wrote, and Haley was like, "Well, I get that, but honestly, my intentions is really for it to say, 'Your truth never set me free.'" And she's like, "I just didn't change it, but that's what I mean." And so she wasn't saying truth as in what we believe in, but she was saying truth as in what other people want you to believe in, and what they see as truth, you know. And so it never was about. It was never about what they're saying it was about, you know. It was about other people forcing their beliefs on you, and if you don't meet those requirements, then you're doing a bad job. So that was really misconstrued.
I mean, that's certainly, you know, kind of a leap, I would say. But there are other mentions here. There's, you know, in ignorance. It's not a war. No, it's not a rapture. You know, a biblical reference.
Yeah.
You know, playing God. You know, there's a lot of that in there. So, were these songs specifically? Did you guys have a disagreement in faith? Because they mentioned faith, God, a lot, sort of in a way with this is the reason they decided to do it. So, was that part of your disagreement? Was an issue of faith? Because they also mentioned that you two in particular started sort of making choices that they disagree with. Yeah,
All right.
right on. Yeah,
Yeah.
We've always had the same faith, and all been very strong in our own faith, and
Yep.
so that was all kind of.
I was surprised, honestly. I mean, yeah, we've had discussions about it. I mean, if that's the question, then yes. It wasn't like I never knew that they thought I believed something different. But I was surprised at the extent of it, because I so clearly believe in the same thing that I have since I was, I don't know, since I made the decision to believe what I believe in. And, you know, I think that the difference is in what I'm learning, and it's a great thing about faith, is that each person is who they are, and you can't change that no matter what you try to do, or, you know, you are who you are, and faith can be yours. You know, like, it doesn't have to I'm not saying that it adapts so that you make your own rules the whole time, but I believe in what I believe in so strongly, but it might not look anything like someone else believes in the same, you know, like, just because I'm a Christian doesn't mean that I have to pray at the same time as someone else every day. Or,
you live within your faith, and your faith lives within you. It's
Yes.
this thing where you know, it's malleable and stuff. But I guess were there arguments, you know, about faith?
I don't remember.
Because I mean, the thing is-
Most of our record and stuff was about friendship.
Sure.
And that was what I feel like that's kind of a weird line that people that it can be that's thought as that it was a faith thing, and it was a friendship thing. You know, all of
Yeah.
us started off really young and started growing up, and you go through a lot of changes anyways, and being on the road and away from family, and this is your new family. You know, it all gets really tough. But and when people change, it's hard. When anybody changes, it's hard to really. You kind of look at them changing and you're like, oh, is that a bad thing? Is it a good thing?
Yeah.
And that was what the record's about. That's how we came up with the title. You have to look at your friends with basically a brand new set of eyes and then be like, oh, they're the same person that I love, and exactly, you know.
Yeah, I mean, the references I would say, though, to, you know, spiritual warfare or in anything spiritual at all, are just probably because it is a big part of me. So, you know, for me to talk about something metaphorically or use an analogy, it's very easy for me to use faith, because to me it's so applicable to almost every single thing that I go through in my life. That, you know, for me to say it's not a war, it's not a rapture, is saying, like, it's not the end of the world. It's not, you know, this isn't everyone being wiped off the face of the earth and all these insane
So,
things.
you know, it's interesting that, you know, we are in this basement where you guys shot the Playing God,
Thank God.
video. And so I wrote a thing at the time, and you sort of talked about it in an interview we did on Grammy or something. This is sort of, in a way, sort of closing the book on Brand New Eyes.
Yes.
I guess the question is, when you made this video, did you know, had the Farros told you that they were going to leave? Or was it?
Yeah. Yes. Because it was after the. Yeah. I guess, yeah, we did know.
So was that odd to make the video then?
It didn't feel like any other video shoot. I mean, well, it did and it didn't. It didn't feel any different in the sense that the friendships that were the strongest were, well, the weakest were still the weakest, and the strong. I mean, you know, we got along the same way, but it did kind of. It felt way too similar to the things that were going on, and it was definitely creepy. But I had a lot of fun on it. I mean, I definitely think that it was personal in a way that it was so easy to relate to that we just kind of didn't feel like
In
work.
particular, I mean, we've talked just off camera stuff, and you've always kind of struck me. You said things like, "Oh, I don't really, you know, this award show. I don't really do award shows. I'm not really an award show." You're kind of like, you know, an indie guy, you know, stuff like that. But I'm interested then, yeah. Why, you know, why did you, and obviously you're someone, you know, who shares a faith with the Farros and also has known them for a long time. Why did you then decide to stick around, to push forward?
Man, this is, well, I mean, I think in all fairness to the Farros, they started at a really young age too. You know, we all did, and I think it's something, I mean, I think there's always been times where all of us, you know, that we might have a bad day and be like, I don't want to be in this band. So it's like, of course I've had those days, but, you know, today I still love what I'm doing. And I think it was hard for me because, yeah, they're really dear to me. And so it was weird watching them go, but I still want to do this, you know, and I couldn't let their decisions affect my heart and my passions and the fact that the three of us still want to do this and make music. And, you know, it's, who knows if any of us will ever get this chance again, you know, so we're just taking advantage of it. And
It's a tough one to pass up, I think. It'd be
yeah, right? It's really hard.
And so, I mean, I don't know how the formation of the band going, you know, the tour starts, there's shows in February. Are you going to be playing leads now? Has this been discussed?
Well,
Yeah, what are you gonna?
well, I think, because there's been a lot of talk about that, about
Both.
like, yeah, I'm
play all
really
that.
playing
Double neck
drums
guitar.
and guitar.
He's got a double
Both
neck guitar for
guitars.
Christmas, and he's playing like this now.
I think the thing about it is everyone's just like, are you taking Josh's spot? And I mean, in a way, this is also a business, and I think when any business downsizes, you don't just take over someone else's title. Like, everyone's titles change to kind of, you know, fit the mold, you know? So, I mean, there's some things that I am going to have to do that Josh did, some lead parts, but at the same time, I have no intentions of, like, being the new Josh, taking over his parts, and, you know, that's not really what I want to do. So, I mean, yeah, I'll be doing some lead stuff, but I love what I get to do, you know, and I still intend on doing that, so.
Yeah. And so, Jeremy, I mean, you know, obviously you have been with this band for a long time, so, I mean, was there ever any doubt that you were going to continue on with this?
Nope.
Yeah.
No, there was no question about it. I mean, you know, I've quit jobs before, and I'm like, hey, man, I'm out. Sorry, it's not my thing, and I'll leave. And then I never hear from them again because they want to continue their job. And this has been our heart and passion. And, I mean, anyone can tell that. We end up crashing like our websites and crash sites because our fans are so hardcore. And it's been every bit of our passion to, like, have those fans and keep those fans and work for those fans and make them feel like family through any time, whether we're getting off a plane that we've been on for like 23 hours and are asleep, no matter what the time is. They've been our passion and our heart. So it's never even close to been an option. It really sucks because, you know, I feel like, you know, our family on the road, because being more so, is closer than family at home. It's hard, I mean, at times you're around them more, or most of the time we're around each other more. So it really sucks to lose that part, feel like you're losing a part of that. But, you know, like I said in the beginning, I'd rather them be happy somewhere else. That's going to make everyone else happy. So And you know what? If they're happier somewhere else, we might be happier this way. Who knows? So we'll see. It's all just things
What
change.
did you take from this experience, and sort of how do you view Josh and Zac now?
I'm trying not to view anyone at all except for the people that are close to me. Because if you listen to one opinion that's outside of, out there, then you listen to all of them. I guess, I'm just learning that you can't prove to anyone who you are. You just have to be it. You can't make someone think anything about you because they're going to think what they want. We're just going to do it really right this time. I don't know. It's gonna be fun to kind of just not have to think about what someone's thinking about me. I know that for me personally, I'm just gonna feel, and I don't even mean this in a negative way to Josh and Zac, but I'm definitely starting to feel a lot more free about myself, and I think maybe that's just me growing up, but the people that I have around me, Taylor and Jeremy, I feel very supported and loved as a person, and that is a rare thing in the world. So.
And I think before you guys, I think it also must be interesting though that, and probably freeing and kind of great to the fact that you now know that going forward, everyone is committed to this.
Totally.
I mean, there was a bailout period. That's over. It's you three plus whomever now. But everyone who will be on board.
Next week, I'm like, listen, guys.
But everyone on board is committed to the to the goal, to the dream, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you guys, what did you take from this whole thing?
Ooh, what did I take from this whole thing? I don't know. I mean, it's everyone. I know that everyone, like as he was saying, growing up, you learn a lot, and I've definitely learned that I'm going to be the person that I'm going to be no matter what anyone else thinks. Same with you, same with everyone. And you just have to learn to love everybody for what, even if, even with bitterness or whatever might be said online from anyone, whether it's fans, whether it's anything, like, I'm just really glad to see that most of our fans are just, they stick with us. And they see the fact that we're here saying that, listen, we're still here for you guys, and they're 10 times as supportive back, because I'm just glad that they feel like, because I was really worried about all of our fans and stuff. We spent so much time working on growing, being friends with them and talking with them online and making sure that everything that we do is for them, even in writing records. Let's have parts that they can sing back and interact with the crowd. It's always been about that. And I'm just really happy to see that I don't know, I feel like our fans, since they're growing up with us, they're kind of not all our same age, but I feel like they're learning with us. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's really cool to feel that. And honestly, all their support has been good too, because we've been a group for so long, so it's a lot on our minds as well. So it's been really good to just have the support from them all. And we got to move forward, and I'm excited about it. I mean, it could be something great. I know that it's going to be so nice with all of us just being so, we're the way that we are together and everything. It's just so good. Very positive.
Sir?
Go for it.
How do you feel?
How do you feel?
Giving you this is a new responsibility. You're not going to have the last word in the interview
Yes.
going forward.
Oh my gosh.
I love it because he talks the best.
Oh, yeah, right. No, I mean, I think, just in life, they're always trying experiences, and this is one that I think has really challenged all of us to grow up a lot. And it's been really testing, I think, handling the situation with as much respect as we can and trying to dignify people and to not slander. And, so I think we've even grown up a lot and learned a lot just through this. I think every time you go through something like this, you have the option to kind of act out of emotion and do things you might regret, or you can try to do, honestly, the right thing. I think that's what we've been trying to do. And so, I don't know, things change, and I think we've just been doing our best to handle it well and to finish this season well. and yeah, but you know, we're excited, and I think we've just learned a lot about relationships and communication, and you know, so I think, yeah, I mean, we're gonna do things a lot different now, and we're all just incredibly excited for the future, and yeah.
You mentioned a second ago that doing things differently this time. So hoping you can maybe talk, is that sort of in terms of communication and writing something, maybe you can talk to that point. And second, okay, do that point first, then we'll have the second point. So how will you do things differently? What did you mean by that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, humans, we're not perfect, so we mess up, and so I think the best way to move forward is to look at your mistakes and your victories and learn from them, you know, avoid things and focus on other things. And, you know, so we've had problems with communication, and that's honestly the biggest thing, you know. Even a lot of things have been misconstrued, of things that we never talked about, you know, things that we're kind of even hearing for the first time, or that we assumed, but now we're actually seeing it in writing or something. But communication is huge, and, you know, even things with songwriting and pretty much everything, I think we're going to try things that we've never tried, things either that we haven't had the freedom or that we just have never thought about, and I think that's going to affect a lot of different areas, you know.
I think fist fighting will probably be a good way to handle problems in the future.
Right. Well,
too.
When there's communication problems, you just shut each other up.
Sure, we've got the MMA master up there, you know, you can sort of,
Taylor's working on his MMA skills already.
We're trying to make an MMA band where you just choke out the guitar player and, you
that's
know,
it, right? Taps out.
yeah. So it's a whole band.
So then I guess wrapping up, and it sort of goes to that spirit of wanting to choke people out, I guess. If you, I think, answer this, deny this, perhaps you're the best people I've ever met in my entire life. But going forward, if you deny it, if not, then you're just human, and I agree with you. But going forward, there has to be some part of you that wants to prove these people, to prove Josh and Zac wrong.
Yes.
That you want to make something that is lasting and powerful and, you know, the final word. So is there a part of you inside of you that wants to do that, to prove these people who've jumped off the ship, who've written the band off wrong?
I think that if there wasn't any part of us that wanted to react, then we would be perfect, and that would suck, quite frankly. But, I mean, yeah, you want to react, you want to say things back and sort of counter every point that is made, but what's the point? I mean, what's the purpose of that? It's just going to never stop. It would never end if we dealt with it that way, and to me, that would be so unfair to, like, our online community that we've built and that our fans have built. We're not trying to create some drama for everyone to talk about, because that just takes the focus completely away from what it should be, which is about our music and about something positive, you know, that we're building and we still want to build onto. I mean, yeah, I would love to just throw punches and be pissed and be angry and say things that I would just regret about 5 minutes later.
So perhaps the final word will be whatever you guys make. You know, that will sort of be the ultimate triumph. The ultimate sort of indication is making another record that is killer, you know?
Yeah. Well, first, making a record at all would be a triumph. You know, I think that's a triumph anytime a band gets to make another album. I was surprised we made it to 3 albums, and I was stoked. But yeah, it being a great record will be our way of sort of saying, no one can take this away from us. No one.